When an enemy dares to cross two endless oceans to seize America, does it meet a nation to conquer or a fortress that fights back? For 250 years, no foreign army has conquered the United States. That is not bravado. That is history. Powers have tried and failed. Others have looked at the map, measured the distance, and understood the simple truth. Invading America is not war. It is suicide. Yet there is a question that lingers. What if it actually happened? If everything collapsed and the nation stood alone? What would that war look like in reality? To answer, history speaks first. In 1814, British forces did the unthinkable. They burned Washington. The White House and the Capitol fell to flame. The president fled. It remains the only moment a foreign army held the American capital. Decades later, in 1916, Pancho Villa's men raided New Mexico. Pancho Villa's men killed Americans and vanished back across the border. Then, in 1942, Japan seized two small frozen islands in Alaska. When American forces finally retook them, the terrain killed almost as many men as the enemy. That is the list. Brief, brutal, and revealing. No one has ever conquered the mainland. Look at the map. Two oceans guard its shores, the Atlantic, the Pacific. They are not just water, they are walls. The Pacific alone stretches 5,000 miles, a moving barrier of storms, currents, and emptiness that suffocates ambition. Even superpowers choke on that distance. Hitler never tried to cross it. Japan struck only Hawaii. Too far, too hard, too costly. During World War II, when America attempted the reverse, pushing across the Pacific toward distant islands, it took 3 years. Tens of thousands of ships, entire floating cities of fuel and steel. That toll is the measure of what a trans-ocean invasion demands. Modern militaries know the math. A single carrier group burns millions of gallons of fuel every week. Crossing 5,000 miles means weeks of exposure to satellites and submarines. A fleet cannot hide on a planet that sees. A planet that sees in thermal and radar and silent acoustic echoes. Imagine an enemy fleet clawing its way through Pacific storms. Imagine an enemy fleet clawing its way to the Pacific Northwest. Expecting beaches, finding cliffs. The Olympic Peninsula rises almost straight out of the ocean. No broad flats, no easy landing zones. Storms slam the coast like artillery. Rain is relentless. In some places it falls 12 feet a year. That is not weather. That is war. The coastline itself fights back. Sharp rock, hidden coves, shifting sandbars. Sailors called it the graveyard of the Pacific. Over 2,000 ships have vanished along that shore, nearly one for every 3 miles. Even today, the Columbia River Bar is so dangerous. Ships are still lost. One wrong swell, one gust too strong, gone. Behind that chaos lies the coastal range. Not towering peaks, but close enough to trap clouds and crush dreams. Lighthouses built to outlast centuries have been moved inland. Lighthouses have been moved as the ocean eats the shore. Before an invader ever sees a city, it fights rain, mud, and gravity. Suppose somehow a landing succeeds. Now comes the true enemy, the continent itself. Deserts, mountains, swamps, and snow. Every mile different, every region hostile. The Rockies slice the West in half. The Mississippi floods its plains. The Appalachians twist the East into endless ridges. Each barrier splits armies, burns fuel, and punishes mistakes. Even American convoys need weeks to cross in peace. In war, it would be hopeless. The Great Plains look flat, yet they offer only open exposure. Nowhere to hide from drones or jets. Deserts kill engines with heat. Winters break them with ice. Nature does not just slow invaders, it starves them. There are no refuel points, no factories, no friendly locals to supply a foreign army. Every state line becomes another front. Then there's the population. Here's a fact no invader wants to hear. America has more guns than people. 390 million firearms. 120 for every 100 citizens. That is not a single army. That is tens of millions of potential militias. From Maine to Montana, from Texas to Alaska. Every home can become a stronghold. There are 15 million licensed hunters, more than the standing forces of many nations. Japanese Admiral Yamamoto supposedly said that behind every blade of grass there is a gun. Whether he said it or not, the logic stands. Even if the American military fell back, the population would not. They know their terrain. They stock ammunition like winter food. It would become the largest guerrilla war in human history. Afghanistan bled superpowers with a few 100,000 rifles. America would fight with hundreds of millions. Even getting close enough to test that resilience is nearly impossible because the sky sees everything. An invasion needs secrecy. Secrecy died decades ago. Satellites track ships and planes in the heat they shed. Drones hover for days over empty ocean. Radar blankets both coasts. In 1991, American satellites spotted tanks hiding under sand. Today they can read license plates from orbit. A fleet crossing the Pacific would paint a glowing trail of metal detected weeks before launch. A fleet would be met by carriers, submarines, and bombers long before it neared Hawaii. So enemies look for a shortcut. They aim to break America from within before anyone lands. The first blows are digital. Cyber attacks that kill the grid. Cyber attacks that crash the stock market, scramble GPS, and air traffic systems. One electromagnetic pulse and cars stall, planes fall. Suddenly, 21st century America turns 19th. Then comes disinformation, fake news, fake outrage, fake enemies. Turn neighbors into rivals. Distract a nation while pieces move quietly. Dividing minds is easier than crossing 5,000 miles of ocean. If that fails, only Doomsday cards remain. Weapons meant to end everything, not win anything. Bioweapons, viruses, anthrax, plague, fire that erases cities in minutes. But what remains to conquer after that? A wasteland. Even using such horror is suicide. America's second strike arsenal guarantees mutual extinction. If the mainland burns, the attacker burns with it. So instead, enemies posture. They test, they parade missiles, they threaten. None of it crosses those oceans because they know what waits. The largest, most battle-tested military in modern history. Backed by land that kills invaders faster than soldiers can. Consider the world beyond. Russia struggles to hold Ukraine. China commands a massive army, yet has not seen real combat since 1979. Meanwhile, America has fought across a century from Europe to the Pacific, from deserts to jungles. Every war refined logistics. The Navy sails 11 carriers. The rest of the world combined has half that. The Air Force can strike anywhere on Earth in hours. Every state fields a National Guard unit that knows every bridge and every back road, even if someone landed troops. American reinforcements could fly in from Guam, Japan, and Germany within a day. Borders, allies, oceans, shields, people armed. Technology watching. That is why no one tries. In the end, the only force that could ever conquer America is America itself. Division, hatred, civil war. Abraham Lincoln warned it plainly. If destruction be our lot, we must be its author and finisher. The gravest danger is not a fleet, it is a fracture. So the question returns, could a foreign power invade the United States? They could try. It would be the bloodiest gamble in history. Oceans would swallow fleets. Airstrikes would torch convoys. Civilians would fight in the streets. A city might burn, a port might fall, but the whole country, never. Because the oceans defend it. The land protects it. The people arm it. The technology guards it. The only invasion that could ever work is the one that starts within.